to know if you're adding two polynomials or expressions. What you're going to do, you have your parentheses, you're going to have another expression in a parentheses, and you're going to look between them, okay? Whatever is between them is what you're doing. So if there's a plus between them, you're going to add the two expressions. And so to do that, you're going to find their like terms. So what we had talked about before is like terms are the ones that have the same last name. So like the last name of this term right here is x to the fifth. The first name is whatever the number is or the coefficient that's in front of it. So you're going to find the like terms and you're going to do this with them. So you're going to add them, okay? So for the first example, the last name is x to the fifth. So you're going to look for the term that has that as the same last name. So what term over here has that? And if there is a term, sometimes there's not always going to be like terms between the two of them. So looking over here, I noticed that that one has x to the fifth. So that is a like term with that one. And so you're going to combine them. If there were any other ones that had x to the fifth in there, then you would combine those as well, okay? And so we've got 4x to the fifth plus 2x to the fifth. And so remember, the last names stay the same, so it's going to be x to the fifth as the last name. And then you combine their front numbers. So you've got 4 plus 2, which is 6, okay? Then you do the same thing. So it's almost like matching their like terms up and then doing this with them. Okay, so this one, you've got positive 2x to the third. And so we're going to look to see if there's an x to the third term anywhere. And so that one and that one will go together because they both have the last name of x to the third. So you've got positive 2 plus positive 5. So 2 plus 5 is a positive 7. And then remember, the last name, just like when two people get married, usually they keep the same last name, okay? And then we've got one more in here, and then you also have to look at the other one to see what else is left. So this one, you've got 4x, the last name is x, and you're gonna look over here and you're gonna see, okay, is there any like terms with that one? And the 2x happens to be a like term with that one. So you're going to combine those. So positive 4x plus positive 2x, that ends up being positive 6x, okay? And then from there, you're going to look at it one more time. You're going to make sure that there's no more like terms that need to be combined, and you're going to also make sure that it's in standard form. Remember, standard form goes highest exponent to lowest, okay? And it's already in standard form. So we're all good, okay? And then the degree of this polynomial, like we talked about before, would be 5 because it's the highest degree in the polynomial, okay? So let's do a couple more examples just so that we can kind of drill it in and then we'll practice, all right? So with this one, you started out the same way. Always look between the parentheses, okay? See what you're supposed to be doing. So there's an addition sign in there, and so you're going to combine your like terms, okay? You're going to add the like terms. So I just have to find my like terms. So 4x, which one's a like term over here with that? And so I noticed the 2x is a like term, so I'm going to combine those. So 4x plus 2x is 6x. And then I've got a y in here, and it's a positive. Remember, if there's not a number in front of the variable, it's an understood 1. So it'd be positive 1y plus, well, let's see if there's a like term. That one, the last name is y, so those would be like terms. So we've got positive 1, you can think of it this way, plus a negative 3, okay? So when we're adding a negative, that's the same thing as subtracting. So this would be like 1, essentially, minus 3. And so that would be a negative 2. And then remember, you keep the last name the same. When you're adding and subtracting, you keep the last name the same, okay? And then we've got this one, so we've got negative 3z plus, And then that one happens to be a like term. Now, I will warn you, the like terms won't always match up like they did in these, okay? Sometimes they like to mix them up on you to mess with you, okay? And so just don't, I guess, be careful and don't assume that they're gonna match them up for you, all right? And so this negative 3z is a like term with this one, and so we will combine those. So we got negative 3 plus 2, so that would be a negative 1. And then remember, you keep the last name the same, so it'd be negative 1z. And another way that we could write this is sometimes they won't put that 1, kind of like what we had here. It's understood to be there, so sometimes you won't see them write that 1, all right? And then that's it, because it will not simplify anymore. There's no more like terms. All right, so let's do one more. So this one, I'm gonna look for my like terms, all right? So I usually kind of start with my first parentheses and just kind of look what matches up, what are like terms, all right? So with this one, we've got 2a squared, and so the last name is a squared, so I'm gonna look over here and I'm gonna see if there's any like terms. So this is one where they've mixed them up on you, okay? So this is what I was warning you about. So this one, it's actually, the like term is actually right there, okay? Because they have the same last name. So I'm going to combine those. So we've got 2 plus, I looked between my parentheses, negative 5. So that would be negative 3. And then a squared is the last name. So that's what goes there. And then we've got, well, we've got positive 3ab. All right, so this is the first one we've kind of seen like this. AB is, they're both variables, so that's kind of like the last name, and then 3 is the first name of it. So this, let's see if there's a like term over here. This would be a like term with that one because the last name's AB. So it'd be positive 3 plus 2, so that would be a 5, so plus 5. Don't forget to put the plus or minus sign between each term. And then remember, the last name stays the same. So the last name is AB. You just literally write it like that, okay? And then we've got more terms to deal with. So we've got the negative 5b, and we're going to see, is this a like term with that one? If it is, then we'll combine them. If not, remember we just write it out. So we've got negative 5b plus positive, remember, if there's not a number in front, there's a 1 right there, so it'd be a positive 1b. So negative 5 plus 1 would be negative 4, and then the last name stays the same. And then from there, you just make sure nothing else will combine, and it doesn't. And so, there we go.